Welcome to the Legal Aspects of Dentistry, a podcast where dentistry and the law intersect, hosted by Olivia Wann. So grab your coffee, settle in, and join us as we discuss the legal side of dentistry, because a well-run practice isn't just about clinical excellence, it's also about smart legal protection.
Welcome to the Legal Aspects of Dentistry. My name is Olivia Wann, and I'm so excited to have a guest with me today, Lucy Barone, as well as our very own Caitlin Denison. For today's topic, we are zeroing in on how to plan a CE event as a specialty dentist for your referring doctors. So I'm really excited to get started. Lucy, please let us pick your brain about what you have done so successfully in planning these great meetings. So first off, let people know who you are and what you do.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Lucy Barone. I am from Chicago, Illinois, born and raised, and I'm a practice administrator in a multi-doctor oral surgery practice in the western suburbs of Illinois. I've been in this practice for about 5 years now, since the inception, since the practice started. Previously, I was at the University of Illinois in the oral surgery department as the director of clinical operations. So a lot of my education experience comes from that.
And what a beautiful office. So I've really enjoyed visiting and seeing how you operate, and let our audience know how you and I met.
So Olivia and I was fortunate enough to attend a meeting in Rosemont, Illinois in November of 2024, where I met Olivia, and I was just blown away by not only her presence, how she was engaging, and also her expertise, that is, she could actually walk it the way she talked it. And she's very credible to me, which is very important when you're selecting a speaker.
I appreciate that. So it was at the American Association of Oral Surgeons. I know
Yes.
there's more to the association name, but I was really impressed with you, Lucy, because
Thank
I
you.
was trying to get the audience to participate, and you were great at picking up on that and getting the audience to think about additional topics. So you were a great resource, and I'm so happy to have you there. But talk to our group about your special interest, because I think that sets you apart from the typical practice manager or operations director. Talk to them about what you are interested in.
So, what I'm really interested in, and one of the reasons why I was hired, is to grow the practice and business development and helping grow the practice, being a resource to our referring network. I think education and events is probably one of the most effective ways to help grow your business,
Mhm.
especially in this industry.
So you would say that your group looks to you for quality education.
Yes, that was one of my goals when I started this. And one of the reasons why I was hired is because my emphasis on education and the importance to look as an expert. You know, it's the safest, really, referral option, and we're a resource to them, whether I meet them for lunch or whether I'm doing a training on insurance billing, whatever it might be. I'm there to assist them and to help them grow, because you know what? If they grow, we grow. It's
Right.
win-win.
And I can say firsthand, you really spoil your referring doctors with so much goodies, and you sent me home with all those cups that my husband loves. He was so excited. So we know firsthand that you are really taking care of your referring doctors. And I was telling you earlier, and maybe Caitlin can speak to this. Caitlin is one of our trainers and speakers, and she has taken some of my assignments, one of which is working with an endodontist, and he puts on an annual event. So Caitlin, what is your take on how that meeting has grown over the years and how it benefits the endodontist?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that most of the staff of a dental practice needs CEs, right? And if you are the resource for those CEs, you are a very valuable resource in that dental community. I mean, these events, I've done I do they're probably slightly smaller than Olivia's, but I mean up to 300 people is fairly typical. And when I talk to the meeting planners each year, they always tell me how it's grown and grown. And it really becomes like a community. People get excited to see their coworkers and excited to see the other dentists in the area each time they go. And once you get into that rhythm and it becomes something like yep, we're doing this. It's December. It's about time for this. I mean, it's hard to get out of, right? Which is exactly what you want. They know that it's time for your event. Everybody gets excited. And it doesn't take that long to get there, a couple of years, and it really can be ingrained in the community.
Yeah, that's so true. So we work with periodontists, endodontists, oral surgeons, orthodontists. I have one coming up pretty soon where orthodontists host it. And as Caitlin said, they grow when they know, especially with mandatory topics such as OSHA and HIPAA. And now, like in Alabama, our friends there, they have to take ethics, and also chemical dependency is required in a lot of states. And so Caitlin and I have this content so we can satisfy mandatory CE, and our meeting planners love that. So, Lucy, back to you. Where would you say a specialist should start if they want to put on some events like you do and other specialty dentists?
Well, I think you need to have somebody who has that interest as well and someone that you can work with. I think you need to talk about a budget, but you also, at the end of the line, you have to align with your branding. So the branding is such, like Olivia, you've been to our office, 11,000 square foot, brand new, high tech office. That's our image. That's our brand, quality, right? So your event then has to be quality from your invitations, from sending those invitations out, following up, um, just going ahead and making sure that everyone that you want there, which typically we work from our top referrals, right? We'll start with them and invite them and follow up with them and develop that relationship with them. And so what's happened to us in some of the practices, actually in my top referring practice, is their office manager attends every one of my meetings. She's a staple in every one of my meetings. And she also participates, and she makes the meeting run smoother because she's there. It's a friendly face. But now what I'm seeing, and in your meeting, we just had Olivia out a week and a half ago, and we're seeing more doctors attend, which is really warm to my heart. And it makes me excited that more doctors are attending. And not only are we providing this great education, as you said, we're fulfilling requirements, right? State requirements, but we're also offering them CE education. How much better can that get?
But Lucy, if you feed them, they will come, and you put out a spread. So at both of the events that I did for you, the one in May, we did OSHA HIPAA, and then the recent one I did on HR, sexual harassment, and ethics. You have really provided a wonderful meal. So the doctors and staff members, they've worked, and when they come to an evening event, you have a beautiful, nutritious meal. And even at the daytime event, you had a great spread for them. So how do you work with caterers and plan that part of it?
So I work collaboratively. I have a community marketing person that I work with who helps me with all the invitations and helps me get everything going. But I also just look at I like to support local businesses when I can. And so I like to see what's out there. And the one thing Doctor and I have always talked about is not to have the same thing. Although we have a great Mexican restaurant and everybody loves that, that catering, but we like to change it up a little bit as well. So it's kind of exciting, mysterious, but it always has to be quality. And you don't want to run out of food. Again, being Italian, I never run out of food. But
And one of the things I learned, we were working for an oral surgeon and orthodontist that puts on a huge event, and they did Mexican food. Like you go through the line, and it was kind of very difficult because people were talking, and it ran into the meeting time like 30, 45 minutes. So at the next time we did two lines or even serve them so they can get through the lines quicker. So you do learn as you go. But how do you select speakers? How do you find people for meeting content? And
so
maybe how do you avoid a disaster?
Sure. So when I started, my group is called Leadership Connect, is what our group is called. So Olivia was just part of our most recent Leadership Connect group. I had a brainstorming kickoff meeting in November of 2024, where I went ahead and had 20 office managers at the office, and we had topics and we rated the topics from 1 to 20. So I knew sort of what their interests were. And then I also had them speak with their doctors as well to see what topics would they be interested in. And so depending upon what your audience is like and what their needs are, that's sort of how we customized the topics, right? And of course, there's always topics that are more interest or less interest, to people, but that's wonderful because that brings about more participants in these smaller groups.
So true. So, Caitlin, what would you say are our most popular topics when we're working with meeting planners?
I think it really helps when the meeting planners keep in mind, like you mentioned earlier, the requirements, what's going to bring people in. So chemical dependency is often popular. That's required in many states, and not just for dentists, but also for assistants and hygienists. So then you get the whole team coming in, and then the whole team is familiar with your practice. I mean, when you're talking about referring dentists, I think the assistants and the hygienists recommendation has a lot of weight. They definitely play a role in that. We also do a lot of OSHA and HIPAA are kind of our staples, right? Because those need to be provided annually. And that lets the practice spend their time, maybe their lunch and learns or their morning meetings, doing practice specific stuff. They can get those mandatory trainings out.
I think that's great what you say, Caitlin. It made me think about one other thing that's really important to me. So we have a brand new office. I'm showcasing my office. Every day come on in, come and see our office, see our beautiful office, see this great patient experience your patients get to have when they come to see us. It's clean, it's big, it's I'm trying to think of another word that really just gets me excited. It's beautiful, it's comforting, it's warm. When a patient walks in, they are extremely nervous. They don't want to come and see us. Let's be honest, they don't. But when they walk in, we make them very comfortable. For obviously the patients who are sedated, they are unable to have anything to eat or drink. But we have a beautiful reception area where they can relax. They can watch television. They can go on the internet. We also have stations where they can sit and work. So some of our patients are there for 2 hours, so they're able to sit and work. Many times, if someone has a conference call, we have a conference room, so I let them go use the conference room. So we just make it very nice and eerie. We've also developed, I don't know if you saw it, Olivia, we have a patio in the back of the clinic, and I'm going to be utilizing that as obviously the weather's a little cold here in Chicago. I'll be utilizing that this spring and summer. So I'm planning how I'm going to utilize the space. There's picnic tables, there's comfortable chairs. I'm just thinking how I'm going to make that experience for the driver better than.
Yeah, good point. But Lucy, talk to our group about, I know this is not possible for all the meeting planners and specialty docs, but if they're thinking about remodeling, talk about your education room.
Sure. So the education room seats about 22 people around a classroom style table. The furniture that we have in there, um, you can move the tables any way you want. Right now it's in a square, right? But it can hold comfortably. Last fall, we had a meeting with 35 people, which was a lot. It was a little bit crowded, but we were still able to get everyone in that room. But you have to think about a fairly large space with TVs for, the PowerPoint or whatever presentations. And then also you have to think about all the electrical that goes into that as well. So if you're building from the ground up, you want to have these things in consideration as you're building that space. The nice thing about this space is it saves money. It saves money on a venue. As I said, you can showcase your practice. You can showcase, your office. So that was something that we considered going into planning this.
So when you do a small study group, like the one we did a couple weeks ago, you're in your office's education room. And then when we did the large event, you actually rent a venue, correct?
Correct. Yes. And many of the venues, honestly, with the food packages, they will throw in the meeting space, depending. And you'll also want to be mindful to book those way in advance. We use a country club in the area. And so now we've developed a relationship with them that will be coming in every year. But so for us, for our larger meeting, like the one you spoke at, what we try to do is be mindful. People work different days of the week now. People work, sometimes they're off Wednesday, sometimes they're off Friday. So what I've tried to do is structure my meeting where, as you know, Olivia, we started very early, but we were done by 1 o'clock. So
Mhm.
instead of the one thing you brought up was about the food being an issue with, the meeting not starting on time. So we had food extremely early. They were able to sit, relax, while they registered. And then we had takeout boxes for lunch. We had sandwiches that they could take home. They could either eat there in the venue or take it back to their office. About four of the large practices that were at your meeting took, they had patients at 1:30, so they had to get back. So they were very appreciative of being able to take lunch back to their office and eat that when they got back.
And it's nice that you're sensitive to their needs so that they can participate. Now, in thinking about our company, we've been working with dentists since the year 2000, so we've been around a long time. And what would you say as far as the quality of our speaking engagements, maybe compared to others?
Well, like I said, the one thing that's very important to me is credibility,
Mhm.
and you are a credible source. There are a lot of speakers out there that speak to OSHA, HIPAA, but who are they? They're not
Mhm.
you. They're not an attorney. They're not someone who actually walk the walk in the field, in the trenches. They're speakers. They can claim to be experts, but
I
they're
appreciate
definitely
that.
not as knowledgeable as you, or you have that presence, Olivia. You make this, someone said, Olivia made this boring topic exciting. She made it fun. And it's true.
Yeah, we do like to laugh and enjoy it. And Caitlin's the same way. You know, Caitlin, we were talking earlier, not only is she a dental hygienist, but she actually was an OSHA inspector. And so she can relate to her audiences really well, both from the dental perspective and compliance. And I remember one meeting planner, he used our services for multiple years. And then one year they decided to use someone from the university because it was free. And they weren't satisfied with the quality of the presentation, and they asked us to come back the following year because, you know, if your speaker does a good job, it makes our meeting planners look great. And then the
Absolutely.
meeting planner makes us look great when you have such a quality event. And I know that people listening will get knowledge from you on how to put together a successful CE event. Is there anything else, Lucy, that you would like to share?
Sure. So about a year and a half ago, we became PACE certified in our practice. So doctor and I both wanted to have the luxury of not being, excuse my language, in bed with an implant company or another company, that
Right.
we could provide our own CE, have our own topics. I mean, we are fortunate enough with Modern Practice Solutions that you're able to provide CE, but
Mhm.
sometimes that's not the case, right? And
Mhm.
CE is very important for our referring offices, for our hygienists, for our doctors. It's very important. And to be able to have that magnitude of being able to provide your own CE is a home run. I'm not going to say it was easy filling out that 100-page application, but once you get through it, it's amazing. And the response has been incredible. I have people just calling, like after I had sent out your meeting, which I was targeting a certain audience, managers and doctors. I had hygienists call me. I had clinical people calling because they just enjoy, like you said, maybe the food at our
That's
meeting.
right. But that's a good point, Lucy, is to be able to be a CE provider. And we actually offer that service for, so if there's any specialty doctors out there that want us to do the application for them, we have a team member in-house. She's worked in my office for 10 years and she has taken multiple doctors through that process. So if they don't have the time to do it and their management doesn't, we can actually take that off their plate. But I so appreciate you and Caitlin taking the time to talk to our listeners about planning a CE event. You are amazing, Lucy, the many, many years
Thank
of
you.
experience that you have and everything you do, whether it's in your practice or putting on an event, everything you do is first class. And I just want to recognize you for that because you truly put your whole heart in it and it shows.
I appreciate that very much. And you know what? As I taught my kids when they were little, treat people the way you want to be treated in life. And that's how I live my life. And what if I just leave Olivia in a hotel room for 3 days before she speaks, what's that going to do? I mean, this has helped our relationship, our friendship,
Yeah.
and I've learned so much from you, and I'm so grateful. And I feel very blessed that we've gotten to connect and start our journey together.
That's awesome. And I do want to mention that Lucy has an incredible CE course that we will be putting on our platform about practice management. So we will have those details in our newsletter as well as on our website. So Caitlin is happy to assist to get you enrolled in her program. I think definitely as an office manager, practice manager, it's a must do event. So thank you again, Lucy, for joining us. And we look forward to our next podcast.
Thank you.